Hey folks, this is Richard S. from Brighter Days, Christchurch, New Zealand. Welcome back to part 2 of the Build Your Own Tracking App in a PowerApp tutorial. The last session was about 40 minutes long. Hopefully this won't be super long, but what we're going to do this time is going to change the app to make it look a little bit pretty, drop in logos, a button here, and some items on the top so we know what these columns mean. We're also going to add in the second gallery that sits up in here, which gives us a count and an icon, as well as a numerical value or currency amount of items that are in a different filter category. So here we have pipeline, verbal, started, not started, which match this column, and we'll have another gallery up here which will track these, and we'll be able to see, well, what's the dollar value of all the closed, or what's the dollar value of all the actives, right? But first up, drop into the app. If you haven't watched part 1, I'll put a link to it in the comments below this, and check out the LinkedIn post that is spoken about in that tutorial as well, where we cover off all the formulas you'll need for this. I'm going to copy and paste most of them. I will type some, but the big ones I'll copy and paste, and so better to copy and paste them from the LinkedIn document, because it won't be wrong. You won't fat finger anything as you put it in. All right, so first up though, let's this solution here, just to show you how, if you wanted to disable a row based on its status. So I don't want people to make changes to a item once it's closed in this use case. So within this example here, I've got all the items listed up, but I want to disable this row if it's closed, right? And then do the same for any of the closed. Okay, and you can do this conditionally for, like, a blocked one. You could just make the status change, or put some other sort of aspect into it if you wanted to. But if I show you how to do it for a full row, then you'll be able to take it for elements of each of the different columns that show up. All right, so because this is just a gallery, we can work within this whole cell and make changes to it based on whatever we need. Right, so let's say for let's do change the button color and the button text. Let's do that. There's a starter, right? So we've got all our items here. Don't need to show those right now, but okay. So first up, we'll change the text in the button. So if the status is closed, then say we'll put something in closed, or no updates available, or some text, and if otherwise we'll just have it as update, right? So to do that, you want to work in your formula bar up the top here, and it's a conditional statement, and we're going to look at this item dot status, right? So super easy. Here's one I kind of did already, and we'll change that to closed. So basically what we're doing is, if this item category.value equals closed, then change the text to say closed, and if it's not closed, then make that. So what we need to check those, I just copy and pasted category, and I want to check that that one's not category, that's category, and I want to actually to work off the job status. So let's go back to that, because we're not going to get any statuses on category that say closed. So we want to do job status, and we see there we changed those ones already, right? So they're closed. So what we can do there is take the first part of this if statement, and then we'll drop into the fill mode. And what you can do is you can do fill. A better approach is to use the display mode. If I wanted to disable a button so that people can't click it, so this is a useful thing to know if you're going to try and do mandatory fields in an app. If you're talking to SharePoint, you can make mandatory fields in SharePoint, and that's all cool, but the PowerApp will kind of flag up that it's mandatory, but then you might still be able to submit the form, and then you get an error saying, hey, these fields aren't completed. So you probably want to put sort of conditional, checking off all the field inputs that you've created that you want people to fill out are actually completed before they push a button. So the easy way to do that is to disable the button until all those fields are done. Right, so for this one, rather than change its color, we'll just change its state. So when you change the state of a button, it will go gray anyway, right? And so you've got an option under your button, display mode. And that's when you put it in as edit. But we don't want it to be editable if the item's closed. So we can keep that display mode edit piece. Just drop it down a line. So hold down, shift and push enter to go to a new line. And then we'll paste in that job status. So if this item job status dot value equals closed, then we want, you can type display mode and it'll pick it up, display mode, and then you want to go display mode dot because you want to pick up the disabled one. It doesn't seem to pick up itself in the list of options available. So let's do that. Put another comma. So then the comma will basically mean the other else statement, just like in Excel. And then close that bracket, and those buttons are disabled. So pushing there. So I can look at them and I can change them, but nothing's going to update, right? But I probably don't want to have these buttons all being able to people to do stuff, right? Because they might think it's saved, but it won't be saved because on this one I'm doing button save. I'll show you a tutorial how to do it on change of an item, how to update, but for this one, let's disable the whole row out of that. Okay, so to do that, similar approach to here for the button. So grab that, basically display mode. Grab what you just typed in, copy that, and then jump onto every one of these controls on the screen, and then find. Now they will be in different places along here. So for a drop down, it's pretty close at the top, and then just paste it over the top, right? So that will turn it into blocked or disabled. What we will do for this one though is we'll call view to make it disabled equals view, because that makes it a bit more read friendly as opposed to a button that's broken. So copy that again, and then rather than having display mode dot disabled, we'll go dot view. So we just use disabled on the button, and then so what we're doing as we go through, find that. So again, there we go, display mode further down on a text box, and then do the same again. So that's already become text. Grab that one, same again. And just keep copying and pasting for glory all the way through. Last one coming up, just about, 2 to go. So it just gives you, so imagine this is, if this was a form, so we're going to do this actually in this tutorial, and the next one is have a form that pops up, and we won't have the button active until someone's actually completed something, right? So these buttons will do stuff, but there'll be an add new item, and then we'll want people to fill out appropriate material in the add new item. Okay, so let's do some more edits. So we'll get rid of that button. We don't need that button anymore because we're not going to add any new things to the on start property, and then I can drag this down a wee bit more, right down to the bottom possibly, if I have to find my key. Here we go. Just to use the full real estate we've got available. Want to put a logo in, basically super easy, insert, and then media, image, put that where you want it to go, and then over here I can select none, and then the good thing is I can add an image bar, right? So I can find one from my environment straight away. Right, and then expand out. You've got fit and fill, center, stretch, tile as we go, so we can use all that. All right, cool. We've got that. Let's give it a title. So let's drop in. So I'm going to keep my filtering as to show all for now because I want to keep that for later reuse. But let's move it over here a bit, and then we'll make it a bit smaller too. Let's make it 11. Favorite number today, and then pop in, yeah, a title, right, so people know what they're looking at. And we might move this around to make it a bit better, just present it so it looks good. I'll be interested to see after you've run through this tutorial if your one looks the same as mine. That'd be cool if it does. Right, so keep that pipeline tracker. Let's make that 15 actually. It's going to be bigger for that. Let's put a background behind this. So to put a background behind things. You can do the whole screen, but I don't really want to do that because I could have that background behind this gallery set to white, and then my overall background is grey, but I'm just going to pop it in here to show how you can do that. So to put a image in, like a shape, like you put in PowerPoint, insert, and then images are cleverly hidden under icons, and you scroll down till you get down the bottom, and then you'll see the shapes. Should work on that, I think. Move it across, and let's pop it to about the top of there, and then let's make it different color. So on the right hand side, I can then click the color to make it a gray. Now what you got to watch when you do this is if we play this, it'll go back to that kind of shape. I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to change. Basically, I'm going to go hover color and press color because it's a shape, right? And the shapes to me are static, they're not buttons. So, but you still got to go in and change these to do stuff, right? So change that, and then that's the easiest way to do it. You could just pick your that's actually got the wrong color, I think. Oh no, same color. Disable color is different. You could say, just like we did earlier, hover color equals fill this rectangle one.fill as well. That could work as a way to do it. And then under home, just like in PowerPoint, home, reorder, send it back. At the back. So it's starting to look close to the solution that we've put together. Right. Let's move him to the right a little bit. And I'm actually going to make this a touch bigger. Even though it starts to eat up all my space here, I'm going to drag that down to go down. So I just free up a little. I'm going to put a little navigation thing along the top here, right? And to do that, it's just useful. Unlike in Excel and stuff, it's not always going to pick up what you've created with like a table. You can put a data table in, but it's not always going to read that. So button, I can go home. I can change my button to semi-bold. Put my stuff in there, and then I'm just going to quickly copy and paste this thing along. I'll put them at different heights so show you the ordering piece as well. Control V again. This just, every app should have kind of useful indicators about what you're looking at. Otherwise, I think they call it mystery meat, I believe. Okay, next one. Budget. So when I get to that kind of situation, I will kind of move it around to fit, or I'll change the size of my font to make it fit into that column a little bit better. I'll probably tidy that up in a second to make it a bit more pretty, because I've got a bit more of a bigger loop. Again, same thing, just stretch it out, paste again. Okay. Budget remaining. Yeah, so some of these I'm going to make. Let's do that now. So, little trick: you can hold down Control, select items. Just make sure you select the items you want, and then let's make that 11 as well. Right? Just make it a bit easier to work with. I can still move that across a little bit. All right. Control C, Control V. Otherwise, we'll have another large guy in there. And then let's do job status. We'll do it over that side this time. Alright, and then same as before, now I've got, these are all looking a bit all over the shop in terms of their vertical position. So let's select them, and then like in PowerPoint, align top, or align middle, and then I'm going to move them down. Oops. Okay. Get them all again, sorry about that. There are other ways you can do this. You can align to the bottom of, you can put the vertical status X, Y. You can control the coordinates of where you want to be. So this could be the Y position of it could be, rather than fixed pixel at 132, I could say equals the height of this rectangle one, so rectangle one dot height, and then move that would automatically move my status, and they'd be linked up. So if I can move things around, it would adjust. That's all I need to do for that. So we're getting close to making this look similar to the one that is out there on LinkedIn. All right, so let's insert a second button. This is the button so I can create a new item. So I'm going to put that here over on the right, and I'm going to change that to add new, and then we're going to change the font on that to, well, let's make 11 because that's the number today. And just to make this a bit prettier, let's insert another line that goes all the way across. We'll do that, and I'm gonna basically show how we can go. So the height of that I want to be 1. Okay, and I can change the width on this to be parent. Go back, there we go. Parent.width. That'll stretch it out, and then change my X to 0, and that should push it right there. Then it gets a bit hard to pick sometimes, and then move it down. So it's on my button. Right. Control C, Control V, and then we've kind of faked the header. Right, so we got pretty close to where we want it to be. Now I would also change these all down to 11 font as well, because the button's at 11. It's just my OCD design skills coming in at play there. Cool, so we've got pretty close to where we want to be. Next thing we're going to do is add the final gallery up in the top right here, and then we'll talk about adding the new form and then updating these things on the fly. Alright, so this is how we're going to do that. Alright, so what we did on this left-hand side, is a gallery. I want to show you a different approach to making icons that can be clickable and count numbers that can be clickable. Right, so a different way to do it is to just insert a label and push that over here, and let's make the font size 30. Alright, and then we're going to change the text of that to be a count of items that are active. So to do that, I can do a count in SharePoint, but a count with a filter is a count if in PowerApps, right? So it's count if bracket, and then I'm going to work off my pipeline, which is my local data source. So I've got that nice and local, so it's going to be quick. So count if my pipeline. Now I did, this is the filter piece. So job status dot value and then active. So that'll give me a count of all the items in my data source that have got a active count. Right. So that's a button. All right. And so then make it, I don't know, let's move it in the middle. So center it, set it up right. Cool, and then we'll put another label in underneath which gives a dollar value of that as well. And we'll also work off the same data source, local, so local collection, so it's quick. So I'll add another second label. And again, let's center that. And then we'll make that font smaller as well. Cool, and then for this one, we're going to put something a little bit different in. So I want, basically this whole app is designed around showing different functionality. Now there's a function in PowerApps called coalesce, same in Excel and stuff. It's basically going to find the first non-blank value of anything I throw at it, right? So I can say, well, in my list of items in my data source, I might not have any value against my active. I might have a 0 count and have no dollar value.
But I want to show like a little icon to say there's nothing there versus a dollar. So I'll paste this in, and you can freeze frame it and copy it in. Basically, it's the same thing. So we're summing the filter of my pipeline, job status being set to active. And so it is filter, here we go, that one first of all, filter my pipeline job status equals active, and then sum at against the amount column, and then wrap it into text to show it as a dollar value. And then we put the coalesce on either side of it so that if there is no value and that sum is empty, then show a little hyphen like that. Cool. And that will come out looking like that. And if we will leave it nice and wide, that's going to show us, give us enough space to grow. We have millions and millions of dollars coming in here, right? So the next thing we're going to do is add an icon next to this as well. And then we'll group it and make it clickable. So again, adding an icon is a two-step process the way I do them. So I have a circle and I put the icon inside it. All right. So for this one, let's just put a circle in. So insert icon, and again, scroll down, get your circle, and then hold down Shift, make it to the right size you want it to be at. And then yeah, that looks all right. And then you come up with a color, any color scheme you want, but I haven't got any functions around this particular color other than let's make it green for this. So a green, and let's go different shade of green, just a kind of dark green. Same for all these ones. Just to cover ourselves. Okay, so that's that. And then we're going to put in an icon on top of it. So this is just a fake button. It's not. It doesn't. We're not like in here where we've got the gallery where we did a conditional coloring for it. This is just straight showing you a different way to do stuff in terms of just a count and a number and then a button, or a fake button, and turn it all into an on-selectable button. So let's do icon and let's do a check for that. Make it white. So icons are text, like or kind of text language type stuff. So you just pick under your little A for text, and then hold down Shift again, and resize that little puppy to whatever size is good. That looks all right. And then I want to group them all, right? So I want to change. So I select him. Okay, so let's just do this first. I group them. So insert, home group. Now what I haven't been showing over here is the left-hand pop out. So that's cool. And you should, rather than having labels and rectangle stuff, you should rename all of your things to make them more obvious, right? So in my real one, group active. If I could spell active. You call it whatever you want, but generally GRP underscore is good, gives you something. And then once I've got it grouped, I can click into it and I can move this guy around to fit where I want to fit. Cool. All right. So then we're going to turn that into a to do something if I select that group. So pick my group, and then I'm going to go to on select. And I've got nothing's going to happen if I on select this at the moment. But what I want to have happen is I want to update my context variables that we did in part 1, the job status and the category. So con job status and con category. I want con job status to be active, and I want con category to be show all. So that will show us all of the statuses on the left and just the ones on active, right? So to do that, I'm just going to drop in 2 statements for updating context variables, just like we did on the on visible. And we're going to go update context. So open bracket, squiggly, con job status, and then the value I want it to be, and then close that, put a semicolon after it, change that. So if I click in here, then I'm going to it's going to change this value here, because this gallery is looking for job status and con category and the different combinations that might come at it, right? So to push play on that, if I then click any of these guys,
we should see a change. There we go. Cool, so that's gone to active. I haven't got any resets on there yet, but I have if I click show all, because that just rolls it back to that main status of everything, right? Because it frees up this guy. And I probably gotta keep that as it is at the moment. I could. There's no hover state for text, but there is for icons, which is cool. But yeah, so let's click that. Job done. Shows me the actives. And so then all we do is repeat that for all the other job status types. So to show you then, we've got closed, we've got active, and then to show you that blocked and deferred, right? So then you build out 3 more of these things, doing exactly the same technique, space them around so that the clickable space is not covering anything else. Or if you wanted to, you could put the on select statement into each of these things if you wanted to, just to hide that. Or if I knew that my button wasn't going to be huge, or I wasn't going to get massive dollar values, then I could do that, make my font, or my text box area for my dollar value a bit smaller than my group by shape is a bit smaller, which means I can put another one right next to it and not going to overlap. But yeah, so your task now is to add 3 more, one for one for closed, one for deferred, and one for blocked. You put them in any order you want. Blocked, deferred, closed is a good way to do it, because then it'll look just like that. And I've gone for red for blocked, yellow for deferred, and closed for active. And then we're in a pretty good state for having a tool that just shows us a solution. Doesn't do anything other than present it, but it shows us everything we need. And then all we have to worry about is the forms. All right, so give it a go. I'm just going to add my ones in and come back to you in just a sec. All right, so back in. Doesn't take that long. The trick here would be to use copy and paste, everybody's favorite friend. Copy that, paste it, and it'll be sitting here. Give it the right name. So change these to be whatever you want, and then go in here and change. So the circle allows you to circle, select it, change the color of it, change the icon easily with the left hand, also right hand pop out for changing it, and then label. Again, you're just changing blocked on the value for both, basically, so the text and the count. And then realign. I moved them a little bit around so it would fit in the right area. Oops, sorry, I've got my phone going off. People are calling already. Better ring my agent. But that's popped in there. And then as we click these things, we need to make sure that we do have on our groups, basically, so that we remember to, on the on select of the group, to make sure that we're not having it as active, we have it as closed. If you did copy and paste, that is, not like me. So, sorry, let's do that. We'll rename them after this. Blocked, and then we've got deferred. Oops, remember it's case sensitive, so make sure your text is good. And active count, on select there. Change that to blocked. Cool, so you should have things presenting, and then over here, make sure you rename these right. So rather than _1, so let's get rid of count, _1, and let's go blocked, right? So we should all have these renamed so they look effective. But let's play this and I'll show you where we're at, and then that should complete today's. It's taken a while to save. Save things up. There we go. Cool. Let's just push play on that. So let's check the closed ones. So we've got a few in here plus some others. So let's see what's going on with them. Cool. So that's our closed, and obviously because the status was showing is closed, all those are read only, right? Nothing under deferred, which is why I've got the little coalesce and the little hyphen. Closed or blocked, sorry. Boom. And just to change that. And then here we go for pipeline. Active. Cool. So that completes session 2. So you should have an app looking just like this. 3 and 4 are going to be handling what happens when I push add new and how I can update my rows here. We'll do submit form for add new, and we'll do patch for updating in line. Cool. Hope to see you in session 3. Cheers.